institution, and we are always full of more than 100 participants. I very, very humbly thank everyone for this. So, thank you so much. Now, everybody will be on mute. The good mornings and the hellos can come in the message boxes. If you have a question, you can raise your hand. Madam will give you time to speak. And okay, Ashok ji, you want to say something? अशोक
जी
जी,
मैम।
कुछ
मैम
कहना
मैंने
चाहते
वीडियो, जी जी, गुड मॉर्निंग मैम।
हैं? गुड मॉर्निंग।
मैम मैंने वीडियो अपलोड किया था कल, एक बार नहीं 2 बार कर दिया था, ठीक। और उसमें क्या है, जब मैंने रात को देखा था तो वो मिसिंग आ रहा था, उसमें मैंने हैंड इन नहीं किया था। अब हैंड इन किया है तो वो आ रहा है कि वर्क डन लेट।
तो अशोक जी, ये बात आप मुझे ईमेल करके कह दीजिए। अभी आपकी रिसोर्स पर्सन का बहुत प्रेशियस टाइम है, वो यहाँ पे मौजूद है। वी विल गो
थैंक
अहेड
यू।
एंड we will request her to begin her session. So it's over
थैंक
to
यू।
you, Professor Hamid, and I request you to start your presentation.
Thank you, Dr. Faiza. And I think we're going to have a Q&A session also at the end. The last half an hour is reserved for Q&A. So I think I'll be happy to receive all the questions at that time. And before that, I have a presentation to share with everyone. And I'll be speaking through. And we'll be taking, please reserve your questions for the last half an hour. Thank you so much. And I'll share my PPT. Can you see the slide on the screen?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes मैम, yes मैम।
Okay. Thank you. Now, as you all can see that the presentation today is on leadership gap among women in higher education. Now, incidentally, and let us say fortunately, today we, all of us come from academia, and all of us actually know the real status today, that how many women are present in the management, higher management of academia. Although we know roughly that they are few, but in the course of the presentation, let us discover the reasons, the environment, the external climate, the internal climate. What are the stumbling blocks that stop a woman, that are stopping a woman from taking higher positions, administrative
Ma'am, एक
positions?
second.
Yes,
Good
yes.
morning.
Good morning.
Ma'am, please bilingual थोड़ा थोड़ा समझा दीजिएगा.
जी. Okay, fine.
जी, thank you, ma'am.
All right. So, because I think I have been asked to speak in English, but I will try my best.
Sheeba ma'am, the lecture is in English because our medium of instruction is in English.
Yes,
Everybody
yes.
is requesting the participants.
Yes,
If you have any question, अगर आपको question है तो question answer session में bilingual हो सकता है.
अच्छी
तो
बात.
हमारे पास South के बहुत participants हैं और they don't
जी, I
understand the
know that.
skill.
Because of the variety of candidates,
Yes.
it is essential that, you know, the medium
And I'm
remains
requesting the
English.
participant not to intervene in between saying Hindi and kind of other thing,
Yes.
because the resource person is in flow of the lecture. Please don't do that.
No, I will definitely try to, you know, use the mother tongue in the Q&A session. Thank you. So I was discussing about the reasons for the absence, or the absence of conspicuous presence, that is good presence of women in higher academic management positions. Now, why isn't there? Can you see the slide moving? Always this creates problem.
Yes,
No, ma'am.
No?
No, ma'am.
Mm-hmm. Okay, just wait. Just give me a minute, please. Now, can you see the next slide?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Very much.
It's moving now?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
All right. So let us first understand what is leadership. Why is it important? Why do we need leaders? And how many kinds of leaders are there? Generally, we have to understand the women part comes later. Leadership is the art of leading others to deliberately create a result that wouldn't have happened otherwise. Yes, because leaders come into situations which are a problem. They become opinion leaders of the group, give them a possible solution, and take the group through that solution to a better situation. And according to Professor Warren Vennis, leadership is a function of knowing yourself, having a vision that is well communicated, building trust among colleagues, and taking effective action to realize your own potential. Now, this word leadership, it brings to a mind a variety of images. It could be a political leader, an explorer, an executive, a leading sports person, a corporate top-notch. Anybody, who comes to mind, something like this, which I have told you about the different roles. We perceive and conceive leader as something like that in our minds. And we always believe, and we always look forward to that leaders are going to help ourselves to do the right things. They're going to give us a direction. They're going to give us an inspiring vision. They're going to create something new. And they're going to give us a road towards victory, both as a team or as an organization. And they're dynamic, exciting, and inspiring. Now, there was a time when leadership had a position where nobody would question leaders. But today, we are living in an era where all of us are very well aware. Because of the internet revolution, we can find out about almost anything by the click, just by simply surfing, for taking up our smartphones and trying to, anything that comes to the forefront as a headline or a breaking news, we can immediately go into the depths of those matter because the internet is flooded with information on that subject matter. So there is no lack of information today, and hence we are dealing with people that are very well aware. So becoming a leader in this era, in the present scenario, is all the more challenging, and all the more challenging for women for obvious reasons. Now, here you can see a small slide where you see that the leader tries to take the first difficult step. The rest of them are following. They're standing behind the back and waiting for the leader to show the way, to carve out a place, carve out a niche, make the place safe and secure for the rest to follow. But this is what we expect from a leader. Why is it important? Because the leader is going to experiment, take risks, and learn. Then he's going to give us a shared common vision. The leader will foster collaboration and strengthen the people, enable the others to act. Then, the team, the leader brings together the team and makes everyone who are part of the team to celebrate that team spirit. That means he instills confidence and, we look forward to work with the leader and achieve our desired goal. And this is how he or she sets the example, and by achieving small wins first and then heading towards the big win that is our goal. And that is how he or she models the way for the rest of us. Now let us come to academic leadership, now, which is again very, very different in nature and extremely challenging. Because here we are dealing with a world which is very literate, very learned, and there are experts from all the fields of education. It's not that we are dealing with some engineering people or dealing with some people from medicine line, or we're dealing with people from the STEMs, or we're dealing with people from management. No. When it comes to academic institutions, there may be certain academic institutions that are focused and specialized in nature, but generally speaking, colleges, universities, institutes, run a variety of courses and have on board a panel of experts from diverse fields. So academic leadership becomes very, very different and very challenging actually to be taken. Now, in a university, leadership responsibilities are both in the position and with the individual who holds the office at any point in time. That is, in most of the educational institutions, you will find that there are certain people who, by virtue of their experience, wisdom, knowledge of rules, regulations, knowledge of, the statutes and the relevant laws, and of course, as I said, their wisdom, they become leaders that are sought after all the time, whether they are in the position or not, whether they hold any administrative office or not. So in academic leadership, it's not just the position that you actually sit on, but also what sort of a position you command or the popularity you have as an administrative leader, even when you are not on any administrative chair. So, and a person who holds this command without, as actually having any office at present, is the one who is going to be a leader from time to time in the coming times. And now here, I will, pop a little question that all of you coming from different institutions, different colleges and universities, may please pose a question in your mind that when it comes to people who do not actually occupy any administrative chair and yet command over people by virtue of their experience and wisdom, how many women are there of such? How many women can you name when it comes to, pointing out at such a leader or, thinking about such a leader? If yes, please note down her name and all. We can, discuss later on. What is unique about academic leadership? Unlike any business or corporate sector, of course, academics or academia is a service-oriented sector without a profit motive. I'm talking about the government sector. We know that the private sector institutions, whether they are into academic institutions also, their almost primary motive is earning of profits. The main objectives of higher education are production of knowledge through research and dissemination of knowledge, through application of this knowledge to meet societal demands. We know about the structure of educational institutions is relatively same in almost all the central universities or state universities. It is relatively flat. There is a peer culture with a lot of autonomy for the academics. And education is a subsystem of the social system. Higher education is more seen as a means for social mobility. What makes an academic leader? What are the ingredients of an academic leader? Self-awareness, emotional intelligence, social awareness, self-direction, and ability to motivate. Why? Because when we are into academics and, we have entered the professorial circle, and we have attained our last promotion, the motivational levels go, start coming down, because we have achieved the people who have, got their last promotions and all, they feel that they have nothing to lose now, and they have nothing to gain now, and they have reached a stage of self actualization, and the motivation level goes down from there. But there are certain people who are not settled with where they are. And once the academic highest position is achieved, they want to move up the administrative ladder also. And that's quite good, because once you have contributed in the field of academia and you can keep on contributing, what comes next is managing the institutions in a dynamic way, so that we meet international requirements. Women in academic leadership. Now, it goes without saying that I don't want to harp on the age-old thing saying that women are downtrodden, women are not given chances, women are not considered for higher positions. But at the same time, I cannot deny this fact also. I cannot deny it completely. Although the important thing over here is that women who come into higher education are already quite empowered, and they have reached a circle where many women cannot, or let me say very few women are there in the higher academic institutions, in higher academic positions. Now, it will not be wrong to say that, although we may say that there are so many women that are professors today and all that, like, but there is no denying the fact that, when it comes to women professors, you will not find more than 25%. Some few exceptions may be there. But if you count and see the number of women in, let us say, that are professors in higher academic institutions, the data says that it is 25%, which is quite dismal. And among these 25%, how many are willing to take up leadership roles? How many actually achieve those roles? And how many actually sustain and remain in the administrative circle? That is a big question when it comes to the status of women in higher educational institutions. How many of them occupy positions of higher responsibility and power? Now, when the women have reached the higher education institutions, they're already very educated, and they have, crossed all the stumbling blocks which are mentioned over here, to reach that place. They have countered the inequality of access to education, health, and welfare. But these are reasons enough why these only 25% women are found over there. If these reasons were not there, inequality of access to education, and then, absence from decision making in the economic sector, or unequal participation in the power structure of social power structure of society, or insufficient mechanism to promote the advancement of women, or poverty also at times, the scene would have been different. This 25% could have been 40% or 45% at least. So these are the reasons which are stopping the women from reaching higher positions. What are the key aspects of women in higher education? Three main factors are identified. The societal attitude which discourage women's participation in decision making. Well, researchers suggest, and because I keep talking on such issues and delivering lectures, and we keep meeting those women who are in the higher academic administration, and we tend to share notes with each other, ask each other about what's happening at their place, how are they managing things. It would not be wrong. This is personal observation which I am giving over here, is that this is true that women are tried to be kept separate from decision making when we talk about educational institutions. Why it happens, there is no reason for that, absolutely no reason for that, but it is just attitude. The decision making will be done by men, and maybe when it comes to operation or the implementation part, then women have to be involved, of course. They cannot be kept away. Yes, this is an ongoing process that there is lower enrollment of women in higher education, but the pattern is changing rapidly. The absence of a gender dimension in the higher educational curriculum is also one such thing, Uh, Only 15 to 20% hold leadership roles. 15 to 20% of women hold leadership roles in academic institutions. Examples, vice chancellors, deans, etc. Now, out of these positions, when it comes to deans, heads of departments, or any similar positions, there are certain positions which have to come by rotation, and there is no other way out. The women have to be offered that position. Plenty of these, these 15 to 20% roles are because of this rotation which takes place in the higher academic institutions. So, should we really count those? Those? No. I think we should be talking about those women who occupy positions which are not by virtue of rotation, or there's no choice that you have to accept it. Then the percentage is going to further dwindle from this 15 to 20%, and it's going to become quite dismal. And limited access to education, especially higher education. This is true. There are fallouts. We are a rural country. We are an agrarian economy. And when we talk about higher education and the presence of women over there, that's only a very meager percentage from the cities, from the metropolitans that come from empowered, already educated families that are making a road into this higher academic institutions and their management. But what about the major chunk that is living into the villages of our country, and they even can't get basic education, leave alone higher education? So this is also a great stumbling block, and that is why this percentage which we're talking about, 15 to 20%, is such an encouraging figure, a discouraging figure. When it comes to vice chancellors, 14% of top 100 universities have female vice chancellor. But of late, in the last, let us say, 4 to 5 years, we have seen that many women have been appointed as vice chancellors. And today, the Aligarh Muslim University proudly boasts of its first woman vice chancellor. And that is quite an example to quote, and we are proud and very happy to quote this example. 40% of, let us say, of the total teaching staff could be women in academic institutions, but leadership roles remain at 15 to 20%, which is inclusive of the positions which come by rotation. 30% of faculty are there in engineering and technology. Women are also stereotyped that they can do certain roles even in administrative positions. And that is very sad. Becoming a principal of a women's polytechnic, or becoming a principal of a women's college, or, heading the female dominated areas, that is quite obvious, which comes to women. But how many of them are into mainstream management roles. That is, how many are vice chancellors, how many are finance officers, how many are registrars, how many are controllers of admissions, how many are, on other decision-making seats. That remains a question. We know that family attitudes are there, career interruptions are there when it comes to women. They take a back seat when they start a family, when they get married, and that's their primary focus at that time. So already a lot of time is lost when it comes to women, and by that time their male counterparts have already gone ahead in their career ladders and they're just standing at the bottom. So by the time they gear up again, they come into the second innings, they have already lost out on a number of years. And of course, as I told you, that there's cultural stereotyping of women, that they're not included in the main decision-making roles, and mostly they're included in the implementation or the operational part. And that is what I call alienation from the male culture. And that's where the glass ceiling is for the women, that are they able to break it or not? And of course, there are no, focused policies and legislations which can give women this kind of a position. Uh, this little exercise is there, of course. If you can take note of this and try doing it often, not only, as a after effect of this session, but you can keep doing it. That, do you have documented cases of the lives of women leaders? There must be, at least one woman leader that you know about, that has who has made a place for herself, whether by occupying a position or by becoming an opinion leader. Have we documented or written about such women? We must. We must gather such documentation, and we should be aware and make others aware also. Let us tell other also about those women who have led our institutions in the important, and that should become an important part of the history of our institution. So let us all think about the women leaders we admire. Let us think about them. Let us not stick to, let us say, women leaders ke matlab Indira Gandhi, or the president of India or something like that. No, leaders in our own field. Let us admire them, those who have made a way, those who have occupied positions of power, and those who have led male-dominated institutions. Why don't we write about them? Why don't we document their case histories? And why don't we share with each other? I think this is an activity which you can do later on. Women in higher education governance. Generally, we see that when we note a women leader in our institutions, she will be a person of strong academic record, excellence in research and teaching. Whereas if we see men in higher academic management positions, this is not a necessary case with them, that they have been very effective in their teaching and research. Not necessarily, but a woman will most of the times be like that. Then they have to have leadership skills, visioning capacities, and management skills. Mostly we will find that these women have institutional and international experience of higher education. They have been women who have gone abroad, studied, earned foreign degrees, and that is why they have an edge over the others. So what I'm trying to indicate is that for a female to make a mark in academic management position, it is so hard. Whereas for a man, it may not be so hard. A woman has to be excellent in academics in order to become a good academic leader, or to be lifted up, or given a chance as an academic leader. But for a man, it is not necessary. negotiating skills to deal with all the stakeholders. That is very important, which most of the women lack, and they don't get an opportunity to do it. And sometimes their own attitude is such that they don't want to do it, and we leave it for the men to do it. And that is how they climb up the administrative ladder with their negotiation skills. And women, even though being talented, equally talented, remain in the background. And of course, a woman has to be charismatic with excellent communication skills to sit on a chair which is going to lead men in dominance. Leonard and Seigel have developed an interesting leadership matrix for women leaders. The matrix helps explain 4 types of women. Number 1 is women who have not yet developed any leadership role, women who are leaders but are male identified. That is also very true, that there are some women leaders around us that get a chance to do it, but they are male identified. That means the males think that appointing such a woman would be beneficial for them because she's going to listen to them, listen to what they say and do exactly as they say. So in a way, she's going to do whatever they want. A woman with a mind of her own, with great analytical skills, knowledge about the institutional rules and regulations, about the institutional cases, about the institutional history, may become a big challenge for others. So generally these kind of women are feared, and those women who do what their male counterparts say are easily identified. And there in every institutions today we have questions like how many women are there in this field and all. So the gender specific queries have started to come, and to fulfill those positions, it is easy to make a woman sit over there who is going to be male identified. There are women who identify with women's issues yet are unable to take on leadership roles. Many such examples are there, that they identify, they know, they speak about women's issues, but they're not given positions. Women who are leaders and identify women's agenda as part of their commitment. Yes, there are certain women who may not harp on women's issues, feminism, or, justice for women all the time, but they're hardcore leaders. If given a chance, when they sit, they exercise that power in a judicious way to encourage other women also. And that's quite good and advisable. Feminine leadership in academia is a commitment to power sharing. And it is recognition and accommodation of the pressure. Let us come to the unique leadership characteristics. Caliper, which is a management consulting firm in New Jersey, had identified 4 specific statements about women's leadership qualities. They say that women leaders are more persuasive than their male counterparts. True, because for a woman to survive in that administrative circle, she has to be superbly informed and well-read about her role in that place. So, of course, she becomes more persuasive. When they feel the sting of rejection, women leaders learn from adversity and carry on with an "I'll show you" attitude. Yes, they take rejection. They're trained for taking rejections, trained for not being heard, because they have been in that environment since always. But that is not a discouraging factor for them. They take it as an "I'll show you" attitude. They still keep on working hard. This is one positive point. Women leaders demonstrate an inclusive, team-building, leadership style of problem-solving and decision-making. That's very true. That's very true, because when a woman sits on a chair, at an administrative chair, it's not easy for her to lead men. I don't say that she does not know what to do when she sits on the chair. She may be very knowledgeable, she may be very wise, she may be very well informed, but the the societal attitude is such that it's difficult for them, the subordinates or the peer group, to follow a female boss. And it is true. You discuss with any women academic leader and she'll tell you the same story. So what's the way out? Consequently, to facilitate management and to keep the institution running smoothly, there is no other choice left with a woman leader other than showing inclusiveness, including everybody in the process of decision making, and building a team and letting them feel that a female is not trying to dominate that whole scene. The moment the team feels, or the subordinates or the peer group feels, that she is trying to dominate, problems start coming up. So a woman automatically becomes, an inclusive leader who believes in teamwork. That's that may be a reaction, or let us say, a reaction to a possible situation, to curtail that possible situation that the women leader does. But that also helps when and there is an inclusive environment, where there is a team environment. Work is always fun and productivity level rises. And maybe this is the reason why when there are women leaders in an academic institution or in any other academic administrative chair, most of the times those units do function very well. As they say that it is a woman leader always tries to find good solutions to problems, something which is going to keep the spirits high of the team. She would never want to kill the spirit of the team, because she wants to do good work. She has to prove herself. And if anything goes wrong, it will be blamed that, a woman was leading. So that fear, that dagger which, is always hanging in front of her, makes her do things which not only benefit her image, but also benefit the organization in the longer run. And she does not give up very easily. If there is paucity of resources, she makes sure that she finds the resources. She brings those resources to facilitate work in her unit. They're great collaborators. Women are great collaborators, and they're not afraid to share the wealth of talent, time, and resources. They do not mind sharing success also. And that is why they are perceived as more compassionate and, you can say, slightly better or sought after leaders. If a woman recognizes that one group may provide the labor while another will provide the funding, she is going to, work with both the groups to benefit her organization. So the bottom line is that a compassionate leader inspires and empowers others along the way. And that is what a female leader keeps on doing, which is actually very beneficial for any organization. Why are there so few women in senior administrative positions in higher education? We know there are certain personal factors like low career aspirations. As I told you, generally when the females enter the professorial circle and they have attained their last promotion, they tend to think that, what more to do. But there are others who have that spirit that they want to probe further and go ahead. But those are very few. So they themselves have low career aspirations because they have so much to do at home. They have so much to do with their children. They have to do so much to do in their social life, and hence they and the tag of a professor or an associate professor is already there with them, and they are quite satisfied with it. Secondly, they think that who is going to give a place to women in administrative positions? Why should I work so hard to get one? And now I have come this long, and it's time for me to relax and enjoy my power, money, position, etc. And they tend to become victims of comfort also at times, and they feel intimidated by their male competitors because they can see them that they are networking, they're sitting in groups always, sharing about what's happening in the organization, sitting back after official hours, visiting each other after official hours, visiting the visiting the administrative offices, and getting in touch with the non-teaching high ranking officials, getting projects, and their networking is of a very high quality and a very high impact networking, which they feel intimidated with. And they say that they feel that we can't do all this, and therefore they are going to be the beneficiaries. How can we be the beneficiaries? And here the line is drawn that that we have achieved ourselves whatever we wanted to, and now if something comes along, we'll do it. We are not going to find that position for us or strive for that position. Whereas the males, they do it, it is almost their second nature. So at times you can also see that there is a reluctance to accept responsibility also because of the dual role of family and work life. The women are always bogged down by dual roles, personal and professional both. There are cultural barriers, there is lack of support from family. Most of the times family says, oh, you have attained this now, you must give more time to the family, you've missed out taking care of your family all these years, and your children are grown up now, you need to look after their careers, you have achieved yours, now give time to the career of the children, focus on them. And the woman is a very easy prey for all this, which is what if you talk to the women leaders that are around you, it is not so difficult to balance what's going on at home and what's happening at your university or your institution. You have to just give enough time at the institution and not be the one who packs her bag at 1:30 and goes home. That's going to be a problem. If you can't spend much time at the workplace, then you're going to be out of the scene. But if you want to remain in the scene, you can give more time and balance your family life also equally. So in case you want to be taken seriously, you should be aware of the campus climate, and you should be willing to spend more time at the workplace. And these kinds of problems will always be there, that you're going to cope with chilly climate. You have to deal with the problem of invisibility, because most of the times we see that women do work and they do not publicize it. Let us now think about, if we are doing some good work, we must always send it to the public relations office. We must always make it a press release or something like that. Whereas men, if they do even something small, they make sure that it is hyped and publicized and everyone comes to know about them. Whereas women will do something and just sit back. Who's going to get it publicized, or who's going to make a news piece, and why to do that? I have attained, I have become a professor, I have become the senior teacher. I don't want to do all these things now. Whereas this is wrong. If the achievements of women are highlighted, then there will be more choice when it comes to academic leaders. We must make our presence felt. We must not remain inconspicuous, sitting in one corner and not letting the world know that we exist. There are structural factors also, because when it comes to recruitment and promotion, these policies are there, and many times I have seen that women also, when they sit into recruitments and promotions as a panel, as the ones who are going to select, their viewpoint also becomes the same for other women. Now, I have tried to analyze that thing also, that will I think the same way, or do I think the same way? Believe me, when it comes to excellence in work, There is no compromise. A woman who is not into the mainstream of academic management is difficult to be selected. You can get your academic promotion, no doubt. But when it comes to administration, you have to be in the scene. And no doubt, I do agree that when a woman occupies an administrative chair, to make her mark felt, she has to work 10 times more than the men. Because if you make a small mistake, you're going to be labeled. Whereas men are given a clean check. They're not even discussed. That is there. That is true. That is my personal experience also. So excellence is the key for women. So that means extra work. A successful woman, if she's termed as successful, if she's viewed as a successful woman, she has worked at least 10 times more than the man. So it's not easy, definitely. Now we see that just now I discussed with you about that activity that we should document cases and histories of the women leaders around us. So that is why there is lack of literature also. There is no encouragement that is available for us. When I tried to find a list of women leaders, of women vice chancellors, now I only know about because we keep reading about who's become the vice chancellor where. That is why we know that how many women have become. But when if you try to find some literature or statistics, it is very meager. I could not get more than 1 or 2 pages of data on women leadership in academia. I mean, statistics I'm talking about. Definitely, there is underrepresentation of women in leadership positions because paths to leadership are very slow or often blocked for women. Leadership positions, let me say, are less attractive to women, and on the counterpart, on the contrary, very attractive to the men. So this is this is the thing which is creating a gap, that we as women have to look at the administrative positions with something to be achieved. We should not view these chairs as that they're not for us. We should not even think about it. No, we can, or we can achieve. Then women are more often excluded from the informal network. That's quite true. And there is, I don't know whether much can be done about it. Now, women can't be found around, sitting in a circle of 6 to 7 men and smoking with them. That's quite, that's not permissible, and that's not what women actually want to do. But as they say, that more the deals are cracked in they're not cracked in the boardrooms. They are cracked over dinner tables. They're cracked over a glass of soft drink. So in that case, women have a disadvantage. So to overcome that advantage, they have to network and negotiate in academic circles, in academic activities during the day, and keep on doing such programs, let us say conferences, workshops, or any other activity which is going to be a news item, and they can invite many people, meet many people officially to break this informal network. So that means much more hard work for women. And why do we want women as leaders? Obviously for equal representation, and because women are unique in their perceptions and strengths. And we must utilize that potential as advantage for academic management. Both men and women are important. They should have a say in policy making, they should participate in decision making. And we know that women are equally gifted and talented. They are role models, and also to bring a focus on gender issues. How to bring more women into leadership positions? What should we do? Number one, let us think about formulating women-friendly policies so that with that policy implementation, women have easier access to leadership positions. Change policies that are restrictive for women. But there are certain things which are restrictive for women. They are women special, and we cannot part from them. Women have to start family, women have to look after family, and they are the nurturers of small children. That role cannot be, segregated. A mother is a mother, a father is a father. And hence, what I think personally, I'm talking out of my own personal experience, that we are late bloomers in career. Some years of our career are totally, gone when we are doing the basic academic work, because we're doing something, our focus is on something else at that time, or because we are nurturing small children or something of the like, which is quite a pleasure also, and I don't mind that. But since women bloom late, they come back later when they are ready to take, responsibilities and go ahead in their careers. Therefore, they have to, find that excellence which is going to counter those loss of years. And that excellence is only going to come when you are aware. So we also see that there is no publishing of gender segregated data. There is no directory of qualified women, which all of us can start doing informally. Uh, do we often see the women on selection and promotion committees now? Because of the rules and regulations, it is important to have minorities and women on interview panels. Now we have started seeing that women have started appearing, but if it's a panel of 8 to 9, only one woman will be sitting over there. And by God's grace, if one is a vice chancellor, that is a female, she'll be found over there in the selection committee. And then age is one factor for women. As I say that, a number of years are utilized in doing which roles are women specific only at the personal front. So there should be a relaxation on age limit and experience for women. What is the prescription for becoming a better leader? That women have to learn to volunteer for leadership opportunities. Then women occupy very few positions in leadership in universities and colleges as vice chancellors, deans, directors, despite increasing participation in academic roles. So this prescription for becoming a better leader becomes all the more important. We have to learn to volunteer for tougher assignments and not, just turn back and go when the tougher assignments come. Go and take it. Take a head-on collision with them. Prove it that you can do it without any, without any show off and boast off and trying to create a fanfare for yourself. Don't do that. Do it as it comes naturally to you. And there's a time when you have to sit and analyze your own strengths and weaknesses and work upon them. Maximize your strengths, minimize your weaknesses. You have to have a list of your developmental needs. Once you have analyzed your strengths and weaknesses, you should make a list of your developmental needs and realize that the key to lifelong learning, the key to success is lifetime learning. Then spend some time in introspecting and reflecting to understand oneself better and see what is going to overcome those cultural and social norms. Overcome this patriarchal mental setup. Think beyond. And don't limit your time and opportunity for your career advancement or to pursue leadership positions. Don't curtail your time and opportunity. There's always a lack of mentorship also for women. I'll come to that later. But when it comes to the special needs of women, we know that they have to be protected from a lot of things. The policies have to be in place. The rules have to be in place so that they're physically protected, they're secured, they feel secure in working at a certain place, and their privacy, their protection is guaranteed. They should know about their social needs. They should be aware about their rights, their communication skills, and interpersonal relations have to be of the highest order. Women in academia may have fewer opportunities to undergo leadership training or access developmental programs that could prepare them for high-level roles are also required. There has to be a scheme which is going to be a training orientation come training scheme has to come, where they can sensitize and train women to become leaders in academic institutions. Many women in academia experience the glass ceiling syndrome. We all do feel, where they advance only to a certain level and then face barriers to reaching top leadership roles and positions. Women have to aim to break that glass ceiling, rise above that ceiling, and have to find out ways and means to do that. And addressing this leadership gap requires policy reforms, comprehensive policy reforms, and gender sensitive institutional practices, and also active measures to promote and foster women's leadership development in higher education. This is true. Then there has to be a kind of a mentorship and networking program for women also, because generally women in academia lack mentors, role models, and they're not part of professional networks, informal professional networks that can support leadership development and career advancement. So we have to focus right in there. Then let us work upon the esteem needs also. Build confidence, realize our worth. Let us learn to express ourselves freely and identify ourselves. There has to be certain autonomy also when it comes to women leaders. They have to be part in decision making. They have to have a sense of independence, economic independence, and of course, self-reliance. And that only comes through awareness and knowledge about the affairs that concern your administrative chair. If you are aware and you're self-reliant, you don't need always some men to advise you or be around you to run the unit or division which you are heading. Otherwise, it sends very bad signals that that a woman sits on the chair and she's being guided by senior men of the unit or division. So in a way, they are exercising power and she is just a name on the chair. So that should not be the case. We must always work hard to sustain your position. We must take responsibility, share responsibility, develop effective network of information and influence, help others in the team to acquire their personal skills, enhance personal and team creativity. Empower. A woman must learn to empower herself, be prepared to challenge, maintain a healthy balance between work and personal life, and most of all, enjoy the job that you do. Don't take it as a stress, a source of stress. No, enjoy. The happier you are doing your job, the more productive you're going to be. Keep learning. Don't lose out on the desire to excel and make a mark, and learn to appreciate others also. And by formulating women-friendly policies and on bringing about the relaxation on age limit and length of experience, and policies that are not restrictive for women, etc., is going to bring more women into leadership positions. Now, what are the issues and problems as women administrators? Before that, let me share with you that why is it considered acceptable that women should still ask for their fair share in top leadership positions? Why should the women are still asking for it? And that women have been increasingly, although, I feel very happy to add here that now, as of now, we're very happy to say that women have been increasingly taking on leadership roles in Indian academia, on positions such as vice chancellors, deans, and heads of departments in universities and colleges. But again, let me reiterate myself. Do we know how meager that percentage is? And how men have continued to dominate the highest leadership positions in the Indian academia? The Brookings India report titled Reviving Higher Education in India identified the Indian higher education sector as among the world's largest, comprising 51,649 institutions. Although the education sector has a preferential status for women in India, only 5% of the women are working as leaders in Indian higher education. This was November 2019, the Brookings India report. In a report titled Women in Higher Educational Leadership in South Asia, that is recently published, which is about the gender gap, that higher education world university rankings observed that women occupy nearly 25% of the leadership positions. That is only 48 positions in the world's top 200 universities. This is the 2021 data. So we can see it's very dismal. It's not encouraging at all. It's hardly anything. Now, there is also a feeling that there is a dissent on the part of women to follow or take instructions from a woman administrator. This is there, it is very difficult to, gain uh, coordination with females also when a woman becomes a leader. So there is a, problem on both the sides, men and women both. Some women leaders have reported that they find the working conditions non-congenial, that sometimes people think they can get anything done from women administrators, that they can be convinced of anything. They don't have a mind of their own. They have no knowledge. They don't know anything about the cases, and they have no administrative wisdom. And therefore, whatever we go and tell them, she's going to agree and sign on what we say. And to be a subordinate and obey women administrators hurts the ego. Sometimes it does, or not all people are same. Some are very different also, and they show it in their attitude. And that women are very sympathetic, and we can invoke them and influence their decision. Women administrators sometimes cannot socialize with the male management. This is true. The women do feel like that, and we do feel that it is correct also to a certain extent, and that is also a hindrance. The government or the university, they do not pay adequate heed to such issues which are informal in nature, and they are overlooked for higher posts, and proper representation is not given. Social dogmas are always an obstacle to any advanced step to be taken. There are self-related problems. This is what a woman feels all the time. I feel overburdened with the duties of office, home, and children. Work-life balance is very difficult to maintain. And therefore, the first thing that they sacrifice is, their career ladder. Let us get the basic promotions, and that is all. They say that we get very less time to spend with our husband and children. There's less time to read and recreate. And I'm a woman. How can I give more time to the college? How can I overstay, etc.? I have to look after my family affairs and everything. I'm doing everything dual. Now, How should you review your performance as a leader? How to review the performance of a woman leader? You have to conduct a SWOT analysis. You have to make a list of your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And then you have to develop an action plan to improve as a leader, and apply smart targets to your actions, which are specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and most importantly, time bound. To improve the leadership skills, find a mentor, let us say, attend leadership and management training programs, practice, take on responsibility, work, volunteer, join clubs and societies, and then that's going to reflect in your performance. There's another activity which you can take and see if you would like to do. Now, if you have to identify 20 women academic leaders in India, you can see that I tried to find a list, and I tried to find it again, but I did not find anything new, and there were like 3 to 4 lists. So we cannot call them a comprehensive list either, because they did not include all the sectors of education. For example, if there was a list, it was about the private institutions, then about a mixed list of schools and other education related organizations. So I cannot say that I found a very comprehensive list of women leaders in education, but nevertheless, whatever I found, I have tried to bring it over here, and I have given the link also for you to click and follow and see if something new keeps coming up. So we can see that we can count by name, how many women are there. And you see, mostly it's about the schools. So this is this list which I'm sharing with you. And thank you. I hope I have been able to make my point. And since it is already,
Thank you, ma'am.
Since it is already more than 10, I think I'm
Thank you, ma'am.
question and answers now.
Thank you, ma'am.
अब
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so
पूरी
much.
Thank you, ma'am.
मैम
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
किसी को कुछ
Thank you,
पूछना
ma'am.
Thank you,
है?
Thank
ma'am.
you.
Thank you, ma'am.
हिंदी बोलने का
Thank you,
मौका
ma'am.
नहीं देंगे?
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
मैम
Thank you,
एक
thank you.
रिक्वेस्ट आई थी कि आप समराइज कर देती थोड़ा हिंदी में।
अच्छा, ठीक है। चलिए, जरूर कर देते हैं। तो देखिए, ये जो पूरी बात हमने आज आपसे करी 1 घंटे के लिए, उसमें जो मेन मैटर था वो ये था कि जो महिलाएं हैं उनको कुछ स्पेशल रीजंस हैं जो रोक के रखते हैं एक एकेडमिक लीडर बनने से। उसमें बहुत सारे सेल्फ रिलेटेड भी हैं जो लेडीज खुद पे इम्पोज कर देती हैं, बहुत सारे ऐसे भी हैं जो कि सोसाइटी इम्पोज करती है, बहुत सारे ऐसे हैं जो ऑर्गेनाइजेशन इम्पोज करती है, बहुत सारे ऐसे स्टम्बलिंग ब्लॉक्स हैं जिसकी वजह से जो औरतें हैं या जो महिलाएं हैं वो इस पोजीशन से खुद ब खुद दूर भागने लगती हैं। और कुछ उनके नेचर में होता है कि वी आर ट्रेन्ड, हम लोग ऐसे ट्रेन्ड होते हैं कि अपना काम खत्म करें और घर भागें, है ना, ऐसा रहता है। लेकिन एक पॉइंट पे आके हमको ये रियलाइज करना पड़ेगा कि अगर हमको लीडरशिप पोजीशंस लेनी है तो समय बिताना पड़ेगा वर्क प्लेस पर, है ना। और जब हम वहां समय देंगे तो वहां के बारे में ज्यादा सीखेंगे भी। जब हम और ज्यादा चीजों में अब जाकर देखेंगे, पार्टिसिपेट करेंगे डिफरेंट तरह के कामों में, तो हम सशक्त तो अपने आप ही हो जाएंगे। हमारे अंदर एक जो एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव स्मार्टनेस है वो किस तरह से आएगी? काम करके ही तो आएगी। तो अगर लेडीज का एटीट्यूड सबका होता है, बहुत लोग बहुत और बहुत स्मार्ट होते हैं, लेकिन जनरली आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट वो बहुत कम है ना, जो तभी तो हम 5, 10, 15% पे स्ट्रगल कर रहे हैं। वरना इतने लेडीज हैं हायर एजुकेशन में, अगर ये सब पोजीशंस पे आगे आते रहेंगे तो ये जो 15%, 20% का फिगर है, ये 25, 30, 35 तो आसानी से हो सकता है। तो ये क्यों नहीं हो रहा है? क्योंकि हम खुद आगे नहीं आ रहे हैं। और कहीं ना कहीं ग्लास सीलिंग हमको ही ब्रेक करनी है, इस सीलिंग के अबव जाना है और सोसाइटल फैक्टर्स को, सेल्फ इम्पोज फैक्टर्स को, स्टम्बलिंग ब्लॉक्स को ओवरकम करने के तरीके सीखने होंगे। और द फैक्ट रिमेन्स, द बॉटम लाइन रिमेन्स कि अगर वुमन को एक्सेल करना है तो उसे 10 गुना ज्यादा मेहनत करनी है अपने मेल काउंटर पार्ट से। और फॉर्मल इनफॉर्मल नेटवर्क में कैसे ऑपरेट करना है ये सीख कर बैठ कर।
वॉइस नहीं आ रही है मैम।
आपको नहीं आ रही है?
आ रही है मैम, आ रही है मैम आवाज।
वॉइस आ रहे हैं, आ रहे हैं मैम।
अमनदीप जी अपना
उस
कैमरा
formal-
बंद करें प्लीज। सॉरी, अपनी वॉइस बंद करें।
आप सुन पा रही हैं मुझे?
अमनदीप सर,
आप सुन पा रही हैं?
यस मैम।
तो
यस सर।
है ना, ये रास्ता हमको खुद ही बनाना है, क्योंकि जब हम आइडेंटिफाई हो जाएंगे तो फिर हम वहां
अमनदीप सर अपना माइक ऑफ कर लीजिएगा प्लीज।
मेरे ख्याल से हम सब कैमरा बंद कर सकते हैं। मैंने इस वक्त इसलिए खोल लिया था कि थोड़ा सा इंटरेक्शन हो जाए, है ना। तो आप सब बंद कर सकते हैं और आप जिसकी आवाज आए वो चाहे तो कैमरा ऑन कर सकता है ना। तो इस सारे प्रेजेंटेशन का जो सार था वो ये था कि जितने लेवल ऑफ फैक्टर्स हैं उनको काउंटर करने के लिए लेडीज का, फीमेल्स का अपनी वर्क प्लेसेस को सीरियसली लेना बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है आफ्टर अ सर्टेन एज। कुछ एज तो देखिए होती है जब घर को चाहिए होती है, and I also feel personally, I'm talking about my personal observation, that we cannot give that time to someone else, but after a certain time we should realize, एक समय के बाद हमें ये realize करना चाहिए कि अब हमें अपने ऊपर भी काम करना है और थोड़ा समय ज्यादा देना है अपने करियर को। तो उस समय वो करिए जो आपकी ड्यूटी एज अ मदर और की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है, बहुत जरूरी है। मगर उसे करने के बाद एक लाइन ड्रॉ कर दीजिए कि अब कितना समय आपको खुद को देना है, अगर लीडरशिप रोल्स में आना है तो, अगर शौक है तो, और विलिंगनेस है तो। अगर ये तीनों चीजें होंगी तो फिर ये सारी ग्लास सीलिंग ब्रेक हो जाएगी, उसके कहीं ऊपर निकल जाएंगी और वो पोजीशन अटेन करेंगी जो आपके मेल कॉलीग्स अटेन करते हैं। मगर बैठकर नहीं होगी, मांग कर भी नहीं होगी, अपने आप को प्रूव करके ही आएगी। सो दैट्स इट, सिंपल, ऐसी कोई खास बात नहीं है। तोड़नी है सीलिंग, लेकिन ग्लास सीलिंग है कोई ईंट पत्थर की छत नहीं है जिसमें आपको छेद करना है, नथिंग लाइक दैट। ग्लास सीलिंग ही है जिसको ब्रेक करनी है। तो बस सीधी सिंपल सी बात है। आप इसको चाहे एक इंस्पायरिंग टॉक के रूप में भी ले सकते हैं, और अगर कुछ जो हमारी महिलाएं जो यहाँ पर हैं, टीचर्स वगैरह, जो अगर वो उन्होंने उसमें से 2-3 ने भी सोचा इस बारे में और किया तो इसका ऑब्जेक्टिव तो मीट हो जाएगा। और मैंने जो कुछ भी कहा है वो सिर्फ किताबों से उठा के, लिटरेचर से उठा के उसका एक पीपीटी बना के आपके सामने नहीं पेश किया। इसमें सच्चाई भी है और बहुत सारे एक्सपीरियंसेस भी हैं, मेरे खुद के, मेरी फ्रेंड्स के, दूसरे लोगों के जिन्होंने पोजीशन ऑफ पावर को अटेन किया है, और इस बात को वो वैलिडेट करती है कि हाँ, इसमें जो कहा जा रहा है वही सच है। तो इसको सीरियसली लीजिएगा और मेरी कोशिश यही है कि जो भी लेडीज हमारे साथ यहाँ पर जुड़ी हैं वो सोचें जरूर। इतना मुश्किल नहीं है, थोड़ा सा टाइम मैनेजमेंट चाहिए होता है, थोड़ा सा कम्युनिकेशन स्किल बेटर चाहिए होता है, सब कुछ हो सकता है। और बताइए, और किस भाषा में बोलूं मैं ताकि आप लोग खुश हो जाएं?
Good morning, ma'am.
गुड मॉर्निंग।
I'm Dr. Snehlata from Hindu Kanya Mahavidyalaya, Sitapur, Lucknow University of Lucknow. Your
Okay.
talk is very inspired me. Actually, I have a little daughter. My daughter is 10 months old. So I always involve to her and just don't think about my career. बिकॉज मुझे लगता है कि मतलब मैं अगर ये नहीं करूंगी अभी तो मेरा बहुत ऐसा कुछ वो हो जाएगा। तो मैं आपकी बात को वही सुन रही थी, आप बोल रही थी कि उस चीज को तोड़ना पड़ेगा आपको, अगर कहीं जाना है तो उसको ब्रेक करना पड़ेगा। हाँ, वो रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी भी ठीक है, बट मैं कई दिनों से बहुत परेशान थी इस बात को लेके कि मैं इस टाइम पे FIP ज्वाइन करना मेरे लिए गलत था, मुझे नहीं करना चाहिए था। मैं बहुत गिल्ट में थी कि मैं यहाँ पे पूरा काम नहीं कर पा रही हूँ क्योंकि मैं उसको देख रही हूँ। और ऐसा नहीं है कि मैं नहीं रहती हूँ तो उसकी देखरेख नहीं हो पाती है, बट आई जस्ट थिंक अबाउट दैट कि अगर मैं हूँ तो मैं पूरे टाइम उसको ही दूं। बट इन द अदर हैंड ये भी है कि मैं FIP भी कर रही हूँ, उसमें भी मुझे 100% देना है। तो मैं 2-3 दिनों से कुछ असाइनमेंट्स को लेके बहुत परेशान थी, बट आपकी बात को अभी सुन के मुझे ओवरकम कर पा रही हूँ उसको। मुझे लग रहा है कि नहीं, हमें अगर ये भी हमारी प्रायोरिटी होनी चाहिए। अगर ये लगता है कि हमें लाइफ में इस करियर में भी कुछ आगे करना है तो हमें जरूर उन चीजों को मतलब थोड़ा बहुत मैनेज करना आना चाहिए। एक ही चीज पर डिपेंड नहीं होना चाहिए क्योंकि हमारी दो दो रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज हैं, इस बात को ध्यान रखना चाहिए। तो अभी जाके मैं थोड़ा सा फील कर पा रही हूँ कि आपकी बात से मुझे इसको ओवरकम करने में थोड़ा वो होगा, क्योंकि मैं बहुत परेशान थी इन सब चीजों को लेके कि कैसे मैं करूंगी। मैं हमेशा चिड़चिड़ा कर रही थी कि मैं असाइनमेंट भी करना है, मुझे बच्चा भी देखना है, मुझे फैमिली भी देखनी है, ये सब चीजें कैसे मैं कर पाऊँ।
आप जो है ना, पहले तो गिल्ट का शिकार मत होइए। आप जो कर रही हैं वो आपका एक प्रोफेशनल रिक्वायरमेंट है, कोई आप फन के लिए या अपने फायदे के लिए नहीं कर रही हैं। आपको ये करना ही करना है ना। आपका
एग्जैक्टली एग्जैक्टली
बेसिक
एग्जैक्टली।
रिक्वायरमेंट है जो आप कर रही हैं, तो गिल्ट कहाँ से आ जाती है? गिल्ट तो आनी ही नहीं
अब
चाहिए।
वही सब एज अ मदर मैं वहां पे गिल्ट कर रही थी कि मैं इसको नहीं देख पा रही हूँ, फिर एज अ प्रोफेशनल मेरे को लग रहा था कि मैं FIP पे पूरा ध्यान नहीं दे पा रही हूँ। तो वो कहीं ना कहीं मैं बहुत उन दोनों के बीच में जूझ रही थी, बट अभी लग रहा है कि नहीं, हम दोनों को बैलेंस करके कर सकते हैं,
बिल्कुल
क्योंकि
कर
कोई
सकते
प्रॉब्लम नहीं है आपकी बात को तो। यस
हैं। और
मैम।
जो जो गुड मॉर्निंग, गुड मॉर्निंग।
Um, I'm Arya Tazeen and I'm working at the Murshidabad Center of AMU. So, Mom, I want to ask you, as I'm a beginner, it's like my first job and it's the start of my career, just after completing my PhD. तो मैं ये जानना चाहती हूँ, at the beginning of a career as a female, I should focus on my academic excellence or participate more and strive to get more in administration. There's I'm torn between thinking, should I go work first on my academic then admin
फर्स्ट और
or
सेकंड कुछ नहीं होता, सब कुछ साथ साथ होता है ना। और आपको टाइम डिवाइड करना होता है। एकेडमिक तो करना ही करना है, उसके बिना तो काम ही नहीं चलना है। चैलेंज तो एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन है, तो उसको सीखने के लिए शुरुआत तो करनी पड़ेगी ना। तो आपके लेवल का जो भी एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव जॉब है वो एक आध रहना चाहिए आपके पास। मेक श्योर वन और समथिंग और द अदर इज देयर विथ यू। अगर नहीं है तो इसका मतलब प्रॉब्लम, मतलब रेड लाइट जलना नहीं चाहिए, है ना।
but
एकेडमिक
things we have discussed like cup of tea and making decisions and all. So these are the things, very prevalent in every institute and AMU. So I think these are the things I am now
not only at AMU, it is there everywhere. It is
yes,
there
ma'am.
everywhere. हाँ, सब जगह है,
Yes, ma'am.
not only at
Yes,
AMU.
ma'am.
हम सब उसी
Ma'am,
में
how
से आए।
yeah, you are inspiration, man. So basically we have to work on both the admin and academics. We have
हाँ,
to
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल बिल्कुल। और अगर आप नहीं कर पा रही हैं, परेशान हो रही हैं, तो फिर यू हैव टू वर्क ऑन योर एबिलिटीज। वो भी पॉसिबल है, वो भी किया जा सकता है ना। वो भी किया जा सकता है। इट्स नॉट दैट यू कैन नॉट वर्क ऑन योर एबिलिटीज। यू आर बिगिनिंग, दैट इज द टाइम व्हेन यू कैन, है ना। एंड सी, कंसिस्टेंसी इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। एकेडमिक्स भी रोज करो काम, है ना। थोड़ा थोड़ा करो, एकेडमिक भी एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव भी। अपने आप कहीं कहाँ पहुंच जाओगे पता भी नहीं चलेगा, बहुत आगे पहुंच जाओगे, रियलाइज भी नहीं करोगे कहाँ पहुंच गए। बट वर्क एवरी डे, डोंट वेस्ट टाइम। सिंपल, बहुत सिंपल, नथिंग ग्रेट। यस, somebody was else is in the queue, I think. किसी और ने भी हाथ उठाया था। जी जी, आराधना जी।
जी नमस्ते मैम।
नमस्ते।
मैम आपके 2 शब्द ने मैडम का गिल्ट कम कर दिया। बहुत अच्छा लगा। और
इसलिए मेंटोर्स की बात की ना मैंने, और
जी बहुत
मेंटोर्स की बहुत जरूरत होती है, ठीक है। और आइडेंटिफाई कीजिए उन लोगों को जो आपके इंस्टीट्यूशन में हो, जो लेडीज हो, वो अगर किसी पोजीशन पे पहुंची तो इस सब से गुजर के ही पहुंची होंगी, सीधे नहीं पहुंच जाता कोई, है ना। तो उनसे बात करिए, ना, फाइंड अ मेंटोर फॉर योरसेल्फ, और देखिए कि उन्होंने कैसे कैसे अपने रास्ते तय किए हैं, है ना। एंड नेवर बी, गिल्ट का शिकार मत हो। किसी दिन घर पे टाइम ज्यादा देना पड़ेगा तो भी गिल्ट का शिकार मत हो। किसी दिन वर्क प्लेस पे यूनिवर्सिटी में देना पड़ेगा तो भी गिल्ट का शिकार मत हो, है ना, कभी खुशी कभी गम चलता रहता है है ना।
जी मैम, इसीलिए दिखाया जाता है शक्ति के 10 हाथ है, तो वो 10 माइंडसेट से काम करती है।
यस, वेरी ट्रू।
यस मैम।
हाँ जी, अलका जी कुछ कहना चाह रहे हैं?
यस मैम, नमस्कार।
नमस्कार।
मैम थैंक यू सो मच, आपका लेक्चर बहुत इंस्पायरिंग था। स्नेह मैम की तरह मैं भी यही कहना चाह रही थी कि छोटा बेबी होने के साथ साथ और कॉलेज की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी, फिर FIP में, और मेरे पास इस टाइम में कॉलेज के बहुत से ऐसे चार्जेस भी हैं। तो मुझे भी बहुत अच्छा लगा आपके लेक्चर से, थोड़ा सा इंस्पायरिंग हमें भी लगेगा तो कितने दिन हम इंस्पायर हो पाए।
अलका जी, मैं यहाँ पे एक बात कहना चाहूंगी सबसे।
जी मैम।
हम आपने देखा है ना कि हमारे जो मेल कोलीग्स होते हैं, कितना भी काम हो, कितना भी काम हो, आई बी लिटिल इनफॉर्मल ओवर हियर, फॉरगिव मी फॉर दैट, कुछ नहीं, हंसी मजाक उठे, कहाँ जा रहे हो, अभी आते हैं 10-15 मिनट में। अब उनका
जी
जो
मैम जी।
यू नो ऑल दोज काइंड्स ऑफ थिंग्स, अपना 2-3 कुछ पिया, कुछ खाया, पान खाया, सिगरेट पी, और आके वापस काम करने लगे। हम सिर्फ स्ट्रेस लेते रहते हैं, अभी घर जाना है, अभी ये करना है। जब घर पहुंचेंगे तो घर भी देख लेंगे।
हाँ जी।
घर पहुंच, अभी यहाँ पे है ना, लेट्स टेक,
जी
हम
मैम।
कभी है ना कि चलो चाय पीते हैं बाहर खड़े होके, मतलब लॉन में पी लें, या एक मतलब
जी।
छोटा सा वॉक, या एक मनपसंद गाना सुन लें, थोड़ा रिलैक्स भी करना चाहिए। जब मैं बहुत ज्यादा परेशान मतलब हो जाती हूँ ना, अरे बहुत देर
जी
हो गई सबकी बकवास सुनते सुनते, आई एम सॉरी फॉर द इनफॉर्मल टॉक बट जस्ट पेप अप द लेडीज, तो मेरे तो ईयरफोन्स होते हैं, हम तो बड़ा अच्छा म्यूजिक सुनते हैं। कई बार मेरे स्कॉलर्स जो होते हैं या जो मेरे सबॉर्डिनेट्स होते हैं वो हंसते भी हैं, तो वो मुझसे इशारे से भी बात करते हैं कि मतलब मैं कहती हूँ अभी नहीं निकालूंगी ईयरफोन, अभी 10 मिनट बाद निकालूंगी, मैं कुछ भी कर रही हूँ, आई वॉन्ट टू रिलैक्स, ठीक है, 10 मिनट बाद सुनेंगे तुम्हारी बात, ठीक है, तो इट्स ओके। लेकिन हम इतना प्रेशर में रहते हैं कि हम ये काम कैसे कर सकते हैं, हम 10 मिनट को एंजॉय कैसे कर सकते हैं। लर्न समथिंग फ्रॉम मैन,
जी
लर्न,
मैम।
रिलैक्स करो और दोबारा काम करना शुरू करो, देखो और स्पीड से काम होगा, ठीक।
थैंक यू सो मच मैम।
रिलैक्स।
मैम सभी प्रॉब्लम के बीच
आज कोई
में
मेल्स कुछ नहीं पूछ रहे, क्या
अपने
बात
लिए
है।
टाइम निकालना जरूरी होता है
वो
मैम।
सोच रहे हैं मैम अभी।
हाँ, मुझे
नहीं,
ब्लैकलिस्ट ना कर दे।
गुड मॉर्निंग मैम।
गुड मॉर्निंग।
दरअसल हम लोग भी सोच रहे हैं कि जैसे हम लोग के साथ घर परिवार में महिलाएं हैं, तो अगर वो भी अगर जो एकेडमिक कुछ कर रही हैं, तो हम लोग को किस तरीके से कोऑपरेट, यहाँ से हमें आइडेंटिफाई कर रहे हैं कि क्या क्या प्रॉब्लम है इनके लिए।
Very
तो
good,
कहीं ना
sir.
कहीं
Your question
जी जी
is
जी
your question is at me.
जी जी। तो
बहुत
इसलिए मैं
ही अच्छा
चुपचाप सुन रहा
लगा।
हूँ मैम कि कहाँ कहाँ प्रॉब्लम आती है, ये तो सुनने के बाद समझ में, वैसे नहीं आइडेंटिफाई कर पाएंगे हम लोग, लेकिन कुछ ना कुछ चीज सीख रहे हैं कि हमें भी कुछ करना चाहिए।
बहुत अच्छी बात कही आपने, थैंक यू फॉर सेइंग दैट। इनके सवाल और इनके अच्छा फील करने से ज्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट था जो आपने बात कही है। आज
जी
मुझे
जी
लग रहा है कि मतलब वाकई में इस तरह के सेशंस होने चाहिए, और जेंडर
जी जी
स्पेसिफिक जो करिकुलम में वो होते हैं ना, इनकॉर्पोरेट चीजें करनी चाहिए, क्योंकि कहीं ना
जी
कहीं
जी
इसकी बात करना भी जरूरी है। अब आपने यहाँ पे देखा ना कि हम क्या चीज फेस करते हैं। अब यही चीज
जी
आपकी
जी
अगर मान लीजिए पत्नी या बहन कहेगी तो आपको इतना समझ में नहीं आएगा उसकी बात, लेकिन क्योंकि आपने उसको एक यहाँ पे एक फॉर्मल उसमें प्लेटफॉर्म पे सुना है और डेटा
जी
के
जी
साथ सुना है, तो शायद आपको ज्यादा इस बात का एहसास होगा कि हाँ
जी जी
कहीं ना कहीं प्रॉब्लम तो है लेडीज के साथ। कुछ नहीं, एज अ हस्बैंड यू कैन बी मोर अकोमोडेटिंग। आप भी तो किसी दिन बच्चा देख सकते हैं, अगर किसी
जी
दिन
जी
खाना नहीं बन पाया तो कुछ ऑर्डर भी कर सकते हैं, अगर
जी
है
जी
ना सुबह उठ के हाथ बटा सकते हैं, क्योंकि मॉर्निंग्स बहुत रश्ड होती है ना, मॉर्निंग्स बहुत
जी
रश्ड
जी
होती है, या वापस आए हैं तो मतलब ऐसा नहीं हो, मतलब एक कॉन्जीनियल एक हंसी खुशी का माहौल रखिए तो सारे काम हो जाते हैं। और देखिए शेयर तो वर्कलोड करना ही पड़ता है, वो भी तो ब्रेड एंड बटर ला रही है घर पे, है ना, तो थोड़ा सा
उन
कोऑपरेट, थोड़ा सा
उनकी
अच्छा
उन
बर्ताव,
उनकी तो मैम डबल ड्यूटी क्या 24/7 की ड्यूटी है।
फिर तो बहुत बड़ा इम्तिहान है आपके लिए।
जी जी जी। हम तो जैसे आपने एग्जांपल दिया कि 2 मिनट के लिए कोई चला जाता है अपना, लेकिन उनके पास ये तो ऑप्शन नहीं होता,
ऑप्शन नहीं
बिल्कुल ही
होता
नहीं
ना,
होता।
तो हमें
जी जी
अपने
बिल्कुल
रिलैक्स
नहीं
करने
होता।
के तरीके ढूंढने होंगे ना, हम करते ही नहीं है। वो हम काम
जी जी
करते चले जाएंगे, परेशान होते चले जाएंगे, सोचते चले जाएंगे, ऐसे नहीं। फिर हम क्या होता है, एक स्टेज पे आके गिव अप कर देते हैं, हमसे नहीं हो रहा, बहुत टेंशन है हमें, लीव इट। यही तो होता है।
जी
क्यों लीव इट?
जी मैम, बिल्कुल।
क्यों लीव इट? स्टे देयर, है ना। अपना अपना तरीका ढूंढो भाई। मेरे तो ईयरफोन्स है, मैं 2-3 अपनी पसंद की चीजें सुनती हूँ और उसके बाद कहती हूँ हाँ भाई बोलो अब क्या बात है ना। एंड आई डू दैट एज अ मैटर ऑफ राइट, कोई मुझे रोकेगा नहीं, है ना। मुझे करने, अब चाहे कितना भी इंपॉर्टेंट काम है, अभी चुप रहो, अभी लेट मी फिनिश अप विद व्हाट आई एम लिसनिंग टू, है ना। मूड बन जाता है, अच्छा हो जाता है मूड, फिर आप प्रॉब्लम जो होती है ना उसको और बहुत बेहतर तरीके से मतलब हैंडल कर सकते हो। प्रॉब्लम प्रॉब्लम नहीं लगती आपको जब आप अच्छे मूड में होते हो तो। और यही एटीट्यूड का फर्क लाना जरूरी होता है, बस दैट इज ऑल। बाकी तो सब सेम ही है, कोई खास बात थोड़ी है। और देखो ना, ट्राई टू सी हाउ हाउ थिंग्स आर, यू नो, बात करने का तरीका। एक बात और हम कहेंगे, पता है, बहुत ज्यादा फेमिनिज्म फेमिनिज्म भी नहीं करना चाहिए। बातें हो मतलब इतना हार्प नहीं करना चाहिए उसके ऊपर। क्या होता है, जो मेल हमारे कॉलीग्स होते हैं ना, वो तंग आ जाते हैं इस बात से। देयर इज नो नीड टू डू दैट। माहौल ऐसा बनाओ कि तुम्हें कोऑपरेशन मिले, एंड दैट्स ऑल। और आलिया, ट्राई टू बी इन एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव सर्कल। ओके, व्हिच डिपार्टमेंट आर यू? आई मिस्ड इट।
मैम एजुकेशन डिपार्टमेंट।
एजुकेशन में है आप? अच्छा, आपका तो फील्ड बहुत अच्छा है भाई। जी जितेंद्र
अब
कुमार जी।
कुल मिला के एक चीज समझ में आया कि लेट से बाहर में जाए, उसके बाद फिर सब कुछ करने के बाद अपना काम शुरू करो।
और
गुड मॉर्निंग मैम।
गुड मॉर्निंग जी जितेंद्र जी।
मैम जैसे हम लोग हायर एजुकेशन में हैं तो अपनी कॉलेज में भी देख रहे हैं लगभग 80% फीमेल्स हैं, और अदर कॉलेज में एग्जाम जब एग्जामिनर लेने जाते हैं प्रैक्टिकल एग्जाम लेने, तो फीमेल्स का नंबर कहीं ना कहीं ज़्यादा दिखता है हमें।
कुछ
और तो
फील्ड्स में,
यस मैम।
जैसे
तो
एजुकेशन है, या विमेंस कॉलेज चले जाएंगे आप, कुछ सब्जेक्ट्स हैं जो फीमेल डोमिनेटेड है।
कहीं ना
लेकिन
कहीं
उसका
काफ़ी
हेड
कुछ।
कौन है? उसका हेड कौन है?
हाँ, तो एजुकेशन में तो हमको लग रहा है फीमेल्स काफ़ी आगे हैं अभी। और जिस तरह से नंबर बढ़ रहा है, कहीं ना कहीं मेल का नंबर धीरे धीरे डिक्लाइन भी होने लगेगा। फीमेल
देखिए,
ऊपर।
प्रकृति का नियम है,
यस मैम।
कोई आता है कोई जाता है, अब उसमें क्या कर पाएंगे।
यस मैम।
सप्रेस्ड एंड ऑप्रेस्ड।
जी हाँ, उसमें तो हम आप कुछ नहीं कर पाएंगे, है ना।
यस मैम।
तो इम्पोर्टेंट चीज ये है कि जो भी इंस्टीट्यूशन हो वो चले अच्छे से, चाहे फीमेल चलाए या मेल चलाए,
यस मैम।
है ना। ये है, तो हमको फीमेल्स को प्रिपेयर करना है उस रोल के लिए, दैट्स ऑल। आपका भी उसमें कंट्रीब्यूशन होना चाहिए, घर पे भी और अपनी अपनी कॉलेजेस और इंस्टीट्यूट्स में भी।
यस मैम।
आपका
बहुत
रोल
सारी
बहुत
जो
इम्पोर्टेंट है।
यस मैम, बहुत सारी जो डिफिशियंसी सोसाइटी में दिखी हम लोगों को, वो आगे हम लोगों के बच्चों में, जनरेशन में हम लोग ट्राई करेंगे उसको जो है ना होने दें ऐसे।
बहुत अच्छी बात कही
यस
आपने, थैंक यू सो मच फॉर सेइंग दैट, एंड आई होप यू डू दैट एक्चुअली। आई एम
मैम।
वेरी वेरी हैप्पी टू हियर दैट। जी, और बताइए।
मैम ऐसा क्यों है कि इस समय जो लड़के हैं उनकी संख्या, जो स्टूडेंट हैं उनकी संख्या कम हो रही है लड़के की तुलना में? मैम ऐसा सब जगह है, लखनऊ से लगाकर अगर एक कस्बे में भी देख रहे हैं ऐसा हो रहा है इस समय।
पोस्ट कोविड देखिए क्या हुआ है ना, इकोनॉमिक इश्यूज, फाइनेंशियल इश्यूज भी बहुत आ गए हैं। तो उसमें हो क्या रहा है, देखिए बड़े प्रैक्टिकल सा होता है। माँ बाप जिनके पास बहुत पैसे नहीं है, तो जहाँ बेटा वर्सेस बेटी में ऑप्शन आएगा तो वो बेटे को ही प्रेफरेंस देते हैं आगे जाने के लिए। लड़कियों को वो सोचते हैं कि देयर इज एन ऑप्शन फॉर देम। तो हो सकता है ये कोई रीजन हो, ये पोस्ट कोविड ये बात आई है, आप सही कह रहे हैं। लेकिन बात वही आती है कि एक प्रैक्टिकल डिसीजन होता है पेरेंट्स का भी। लेकिन पढ़ना तो सभी लड़कियां
और
चाहती
मैम
हैं। जी,
की स्थिति सोचनी है इस समय मैम, जिस तरीके से कम हो रही है कॉलेजेस में, वो मैम बहुत ही सोचनीय स्थिति में जा रही है।
जी हाँ
मैम हमारे यहाँ क्लास में करीब 200 लड़कियों में 10 लड़के हैं या 15 लड़के हैं, ये स्थिति आ गई है मैम। लखनऊ में भी यही स्थिति है काफी डिग्री कॉलेज में।
बहुत डिस्टर्बिंग बात है, कुछ ना कुछ तो
मेरे यहाँ भी मैम 80% तो देखा जाए तो गर्ल्स के ही एडमिशन है, और मुश्किल से 20% लड़के हैं।
मैम
तो ये
ये
स्थिति है कि
होता
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल पलायन हो गए हैं लड़के।
जी जी, आराधना जी कुछ कहना चाह रही हैं?
जी, लड़कों का ज्यादातर एडमिशन प्राइवेट स्कूलों में, प्राइवेट कॉलेजों में करवाया जाता है।
जी हाँ,
और
बिल्कुल
गर्ल्स
सही।
वो
को तो
टेक्निकल कोर्स
पूछते
पे भी
हैं।
करते हैं।
जी। अच्छा, और डॉक्टर अमरदीप, उन्होंने भी हाथ उठाया था। हाँ, डॉक्टर अमरदीप,
आई
डॉक्टर
एम
रीना सिंह।
हाँ आई एम डॉक्टर
जी
डॉक्टर
जी,
अमरदीप मैम,
अमरदीप। हाँ,
असिस्टेंट प्रोफेसर फिजिक्स, धनौरी पीजी कॉलेज, धनौरी हरिद्वार। मैम मैम एक्चुअली मैं जो है पिछले 4-5 साल से जो कोचिंग सेंटर चला रहा था। अभी लास्ट ईयर ही मैंने ज्वाइन किया है एज ए असिस्टेंट प्रोफेसर। तो मैम जो भी हमारे यहाँ पे जो बच्चे फर्स्ट डिवीजन जिनकी आती थी, तो उसमें जो है मैक्सिमम 95% लड़कियां होती थी मैम। तो लड़कियां आज के टाइम में डोमिनेट कर रही है। ऐसा नहीं है कि मतलब जो है लड़कियां किसी किसी उस फील्ड में थोड़ा पीछे रह गई है या ऐसा। मैं तो पिछले 5-6 साल से देख रहा हूँ कि लड़कियां ही ज्यादा डोमिनेट कर रही है कंपेयर टू बॉयज।
सुनिए, आप
ऐसा
बात
ऐसा
कर रहे हैं
देखने में आया।
एनरोलमेंट, आप बात कर रहे हैं एनरोलमेंट इन इंस्टीट्यूशंस की, पढ़ने लिखने बच्चों की। हम बात कर रहे हैं किसकी? एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव पोजीशंस की। तो एनरोलमेंट तो होते हैं,
जी मैम।
लेकिन ये पढ़ती हैं,
जी
लिखती हैं, नौकरियां भी करती हैं, लेकिन एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव पोजीशंस पे क्यों नहीं पहुंच पाती हैं? ये क्या वजह है? बात यहाँ पे जो हो रही है वो एनरोलमेंट तो देखिए होते हैं, मेन जितने नहीं होते, बढ़ रहे हैं नंबर, आपने सही कहा। कहीं कहीं पे जैसे अभी एक डॉक्टर साहब ने कहा था कि उनके यहाँ कम हो रहे हैं, केस स्पेसिफिक हो सकता है, लेकिन पढ़ने लिखने की तो बात ही नहीं हो रही। आप किसी भी कॉन्वोकेशन में देख लीजिए, लड़कियां डोमिनेट करेंगी गोल्ड मेडल्स को, लेकिन ये लड़कियां जा कहाँ रही हैं? ये पढ़ लिख के कहाँ रह जा रही हैं? वाई आर
मैम उनकी एक प्रेफरेंसेस ये भी है कि उनको लगता है कि बीए कर लेंगी तो शादी अच्छी हो जाएगी या कहीं ना कहीं वो सेटल हो जाएंगी, तो ये भी एक माँ बाप का एक एटीट्यूड है।
कोई भी वो कोर्स करेंगी, इवन प्रोफेशनल कोर्सेज, हम देखिए, हम तो उसमें पढ़ाते हैं एमबीए टूरिज्म, हमारा जो कोर्स है, आप देखिए उसमें लड़कियां आती हैं, एक्सीलेंट परफॉर्म करती हैं, और फिर उनका करियर कहाँ चला जाता है ना, मतलब वो ज्वाइन भी करती हैं और फिर कुछ सालों बाद गायब हो जाती हैं। तो ये एक बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है ना। तो इट्स नॉट अबाउट एनरोलमेंट कि आपके क्लासरूम में कितनी है, कितनी टॉप कर रही है, कितने हाईएस्ट मार्क्स ले रही हैं, प्रॉब्लम वहां नहीं है। प्रॉब्लम ये है कि वो जा कहाँ रही हैं, वो क्यों नहीं वाइस चांसलर्स बन रही हैं, वो क्यों नहीं रजिस्ट्रार्स बन रही हैं, वो क्यों नहीं हायर एकेडमिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव पोजीशंस पर आ रही हैं। दैट इज व्हाट वी आर डिस्कसिंग, है ना। जी, डॉक्टर रीना सिंह।
गुड मॉर्निंग मैम। मैम मैं एक क्वेश्चन पूछना चाह रही थी कि मैम ये जैसे कुछ बच्चे होते हैं क्लास में, वो उनके पास नॉलेज बहुत अच्छा होता है बट वो अपनी बात कह नहीं पाते हैं, या कुछ बच्चे हैं जो जो लीडरशिप बहुत अच्छी वो लीड कर लेते हैं लेकिन उनके पास नॉलेज नहीं है। तो कैसे वो जो जिसके पास नॉलेज लेकिन वो चाहता है, वो आजकल मतलब देख देख के नहीं कि मैं भी आगे बढ़ना चाहता हूँ, मुझको भी लीड करना है। जैसे मैं पिछले साल कल्चरल कमेटी में थी, तो कुछ बच्चे मेरे पास आए थे एंकरिंग के लिए कि मुझे एंकरिंग करना है। तो जो बच्चे के पास नॉलेज है बट वो बोल नहीं पा रहा है, नॉलेज है बहुत अच्छा है सब कुछ, तो मैम जिसके पास लीडरशिप के गुण ना हो, क्वालिटीज ना हो, तो उनको कैसे बूस्टअप करें या कैसे उनको बताएं कि हाँ नहीं ये चीज आप करिए तो आप और अच्छा करेंगे, या जो जिसके पास नहीं नॉलेज है उसको हमें कैसे बताना चाहिए कि आप ये करिए तो फिर आपका और अच्छे आप लीड कर पाएंगे किसी भी चीज को।
देखिए, सबसे पहले ये बहुत जरूरी है कि आप, जैसे मैंने कहा ना, स्वॉट एनालिसिस, स्ट्रेंथ्स, वीकनेसेस, अपॉर्चुनिटीज एंड थ्रेट्स। सबसे पहले तो खुद को डिस्कवर कीजिए, कोई भी हो, चाहे स्टूडेंट हो चाहे टीचर हो, है ना, कि मेरी स्ट्रेंथ्स और वीकनेसेस क्या हैं, मैं क्या अच्छा कर सकती हूँ। तो व्हाई टू वेस्ट टाइम ऑन समथिंग जिसका पोटेंशियल आपके अंदर है ही नहीं। डू समथिंग विच यू ऑलरेडी हैव, ताकि आप जल्दी उसको लेके आगे बढ़े ना। अब अब 20 साल की उम्र में, 25 साल की उम्र में, 30 साल की उम्र में अगर हम डेवलप करने चलेंगे और उस कैपेबिलिटी को नेग्लेक्ट करेंगे जो हमारे अंदर एग्जिस्ट करती है, तो हम बेवकूफी करेंगे ना। पहले तो अगर मान लीजिए बच्चा बोल नहीं सकता है, वो लिख सकता है अच्छा, तो वो लिखेगा, बोलेगा कोई और, है ना। ऐसे होगा, स्क्रिप्टिंग कोई और करेगा, बोलेगा कोई और। वो स्क्रिप्टिंग में आपको तो प्रोग्राम, अच्छा लीडर कौन है, आपको प्रोग्राम अच्छा कराना है। वो बच्चा लिख सकता है, ये बोल सकता है, दोनों की टीम बना दीजिए।
ओके,
है ना, दोनों की टीम बना दीजिए।
कि जो लीडरशिप की क्वालिटीज आती है, क्या ये 6th 8th 7th जो हमारे स्कूलिंग है, स्कूलिंग से ये आने लगती है या फिर ये डेवलप की जा सकती है आफ्टर ग्रेजुएशन में?
ये तो बहुत बड़ी डिबेट है कि लीडर्स आर बोर्न और मेड। मुझे लगता है दोनों तरह से हो सकता है ना। सीखा क्या नहीं जा सकता आज की डेट में? वी आर इनटू एन एरा ऑफ स्किल डेवलपमेंट, स्किल्स लर्निंग, तो हम सीख क्यों नहीं सकते? हर स्किल को सीखा जा सकता है, हर चीज की ट्रेनिंग ली जा सकती है और हर चीज करी जा सकती है, दोनों तरह से पॉसिबल है। बट इफ यू आर बोर्न विद इट, यू हैव एन एक्स्ट्रा एडवांटेज। कुछ लोग तभी तो बहुत सुपीरियर लीडर्स होते हैं क्योंकि उनके अंदर वो कला होती है और फिर वो काम करते करते उसमें एक्सेल हो जाते हैं। मगर ट्राई करके भी बन सकते हैं, व्हाई नॉट?
जी, बच्चों को मैडम मिलता नहीं ना, सपोर्ट नहीं मिलता घर से बचपन में कि जो है नहीं स्कूलिंग टाइम नहीं मिला, नहीं आपको डिबेट नहीं जाना है, लेकिन उनके एक अंदर है नहीं मुझको डिबेट करना है, मतलब मुझको भी ये करना है। तो क्या आफ्टर स्कूलिंग वो मतलब वो कर सकते हैं, स्किल सीख सकते हैं?
क्यों नहीं? मुझे नहीं लगता ऐसा कुछ है जो आप नहीं कर सकते, सब कुछ कर सकते हैं।
ओके ओके, थैंक यू मैम।
अगर विलिंगनेस है तो कर भी ले जाएंगे।
बिल्कुल,
विलिंगनेस है तो कर।
थैंक यू मैम।
जी, anything else? Well, I think it's almost overtime now. 10 minutes more. हाँ, अगर कोई कुछ कहना चाहता है तो ठीक है। I will take your leave. It was very nice being with you all.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Very nice session, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, everyone. I'll take your leave now. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.